Ruben Amorim laughing at the idea of Garnacho staying this summer, David Ornstein confirming that Liam Delap is choosing Chelsea, and a potential swap deal for Højlund and Osimhen. This is all of the latest Manchester United news. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. A bit of a short video today. I'm away this weekend. Just wanted to get this out because there's some pretty damn big news that is going to quite literally change the trajectory of this transfer window for Manchester United. That, of course, being the case that Liam Delap has rejected us. That's right, David Ornstein has tweeted this afternoon that Delap has informed all the other clubs interested in him that Chelsea is the club he wants to join. Now, we spoke about this yesterday. I said that either United or Chelsea would be the clear favourites for him. The other clubs just couldn't offer him what he actually wanted, that being a mix of Champions League football, playing time, and a gateway to the England squad for the World Cup. Chelsea, probably quite rightly, are the best one for that. I was kind of hoping that the idea of being the starting striker for United would be enough to win him over, but I'm not going to lie, after watching Jackson in the Conference League final, I've gone from thinking Delap's a rotation striker for Chelsea to being their starting number 9. And so unfortunately, if the choice for him was playing 40-odd games as the starting striker for United with no European football in a rebuild, or being the starting striker for a team playing 40-odd games, including in the Champions League, fighting for top 4, yeah, it's a no-brainer for him realistically. That is more likely to get him into the England squad. However, it's not all doom and gloom. A lot of United fans, quite understandably, weren't sold on the idea of Delap anyway, and so this is kind of forcing the club into maybe a bit of a silver lining, signing someone more experienced, signing someone for the now. Obviously, a lot of the names that we get linked with are Gyökeres, Mateta. I absolutely love the idea of getting Mateta, purely for the fact that, not just for his footballing ability, but that chant. I need to be hearing that chant sung around Old Trafford. That, as stupid as it sounds, it might be a deal breaker for me. I need it, inject it. But the other name that a lot of fans really wanted, and understandably so, was Victor Osimhen. However, Ornstein did kind of put that to bed not too long ago, saying that he's not of interest for United. But according to sources in Naples, that may have changed. So apparently, as of Tuesday, Manchester United Director of Negotiations Matt Hargreaves met with Napoli officials to discuss a possible deal for Victor Osimhen. On one hand, I kind of want to take this whole story with a grain of salt. I don't really know how reliable this source is. I don't know how realistic the entire thing could be. I do believe that Matt Hargreaves probably was speaking to Napoli recently, if not for the Garnacho deal above everything. We know that they're interested in Garnacho. Conte is being given a contract extension. There was all that talk about him leaving, but with him staying, that probably solidifies Napoli's interest in Garnacho again, because he's clearly a big fan. He wanted him in January. He was really pushing for him. And so with him now staying, Napoli would probably reignite that interest. And so it makes sense as to why Matt Hargreaves would then meet with Napoli. I mean, we saw in the press conference between Ruben and Ahmad, when Ahmad was asked if he was hopeful that Garnacho would stay so that he could play with him again next season, Ruben Amorim, not so subtly, couldn't help but laugh his ass off hearing that. If that does not tell you that Garnacho is not playing a single minute for this club next year, I don't know what the fuck does. He is gone. And so could Amorim's laughter be because talks have already taken place with Napoli about Garnacho rather than Osimhen? That being said, United would be silly to not at least ask and inquire about Osimhen whilst talking about Garnacho. I mean, you may as well, right? Where's the harm in that? And so what is being reported is that Napoli are interested in a deal involving Rasmus Højlund and 40 million euros for Victor Osimhen. Now, at first glance, that just sounds incredible. We get to offload our worst striker ever for what is one of the few world-class strikers in world football. It's a no-brainer. Woohoo! We do it, right? Well, this is another reason why I have some reservations about it. I don't think if this was to happen, it would be quick. There would have to be negotiations because, as crazy as this sounds, Hojlund and 40 million for Osimhen is too much. And I know you're thinking that is ludicrous, but hear me out. The club clearly value Hojlund at around 40 million himself. And so you add that on top of the 40 million they want for Osimhen plus Hojlund, you're looking at an 80 plus million euro move. And then we also know the extortionate wages that Osimhen wants in the regions of 300,000 plus a week. Now, pre-Ineos, yeah, I could see that happening. I could see us just going, yeah, you know what, we'll cut our losses with Hojlund and then we'll just get this guy because we've missed out on our main target, which is Delap. But this is Ineos now. Ineos don't want to be paying anyone £300,000 a week plus. And so I would not be surprised if either United speak to Osimhen and agree personal terms with him to be on around probably 250 to 260k a week, maybe 270, 280 with bonuses, like if we get to the Champions League or he scores X amount of goals to be triggered for the following season, or if he ain't taking a pay cut, Napoli are going to have to cut their losses a bit. We've had to do this so much in the past. Alexis Sanchez cutting our losses. So many players cutting our losses. Rashford, he's probably undervalued at 40 million because he's on so much money. Napoli clearly want and need to get rid of Osimhen. That relationship between the club and player is over in the exact same way Rashford's is. So if Rashford's asking prices lower because of wage demands, then so should Osimhen's. And so I think a more realistic deal should be Hojlund plus maybe 20 million for Osimhen. That would then round out to about 60 million euros. I think that's about fair. That's the same price as Gyökeres, give or take. That to me sounds like a fair deal. I think if Osimhen was to come to Man United in a swap for Højlund, those would be the terms that need to be agreed. The thing is, I'm not convinced that they can be agreed. I think if Osimhen was so open to joining us, he would have accepted the wage cut. I don't know. I think this striker thing could really drag on now, which is worrisome as it is probably the most number one in-demand position we need if we have any hope of improving next year. Because even if we sign Cunha and Mbemo, who unfortunately also looks like he might be going to Newcastle anyway, but don't get a starting striker and a new starting goalkeeper, all of it's for nothing. I said this the other day, the two game-winning positions on a football pitch are striker and goalkeeper, and if you employ the worst in both positions in the entire league, don't be surprised that you're finishing in the bottom half of the table. And so we'll have to see what happens with that. Fingers crossed, though. Let me know who you want in striker. It's going to be a long summer. It's not even fucking started, really. Never a dull day at this football club, is it?